This is Hanshow's latest 8.8-inch display for your Tesla Model Y and 3. This has the car information as well as Android Auto and Apple CarPlay built in. It also has a speaker built in if you don't want to use a Bluetooth connection. The display itself attached to this top cover that allows you to have the display sit on top of your steering wheel, which is the best position. It does not block airflow and also gives you full visibility. So to install this, first you want to attach this display onto this top steering wheel cover that is provided with the kit. It comes with 2 screws and a provided screwdriver to let you screw it in manually. Do not use an impactor. It will over torque and strip your plastic. So just hand tight this, not over tighten. There's a screw on each side of the attachment to the display to this top cover of the Tesla Model 3 and Y. So this will work for 3 and Y AMD or Intel. So make sure you select the correct one, but the wirings is there for you to be able to install on either vehicle with either hardware. So once you hand tight this, go ahead and place this display on the side. Now you'll be prepping the vehicle by removing the side cover on the passenger side in the front seats. Once you remove this, you remove it on the other side as well, then you can pop up the actual dashboard. So once you remove the dashboard, go ahead and place the dashboard to the side and you will see right now there is no dashboard. So it's one piece removal. Once you remove the dashboard, you have access to this vegan leather cover on top of the steering wheel. You want to pull the steering wheel further out towards the driver's seat as much as possible. Use a clip, and once you remove the 2 clips, lift up the actual plastic cover. If you can't do it with your hands, then use the pry tool that is provided. There's 4 clips, 2 on each side. So just tuck in that pry tool and you will be able to pop it up. They're on each corner and 2 is right in front of the steering wheel or right behind the steering wheel. And the other 2 is towards the dash. Once you remove it, you will have to swap over this vegan leather cover. There's 2 clips on each side and 4 clips on top of the actual cover. And you switch that over to the actual display cover by moving over the vegan leather. And in reverse order, just put the tabs back on each side as well as the 4 clips on top of the actual cover. Take your time with this. You don't want to break these clips. So be careful when you're reattaching it while you're installing this display. But overall, very simple to do. Just be very patient. Now moving over to the passenger seat, you want to remove this bottom cover, which is the door sill. So in order to do that, there is either a 10mm bolt or a clip, and then just lift up the door sill after you remove the weather stripping. The weather stripping is easier to remove as well. You just pull it up with your hands. Once you have access to the A-pillar, the AMD plug is located very conveniently right on the right side of your carpet. So you do want to push the carpet slightly to the left. And you do have a pigtail adapter with the harness. So if you're not pigtailing with any other device, go ahead and tape this up with electrical tape. Don't worry if you don't have tape, you can leave that loose. So now plugging in the AMD plug, which is the blue to the gray, and you also need power to the display. So after you plug in this blue connector into this gray adapter, which is male to female, you can see there that female plug is available. So you don't have to unplug and replug unless you're pigtailing with other device. Then plug in this white connector. This is located on the further right side. You can't mess those plugs up. Now you will have to remove the front cover with 10mm bolts and a socket, and this will allow you to install the front blind spot camera, just like the Cybertruck. If you don't want the camera, you can skip this step. So go ahead and remove all the 10mm bolts. So there's 2 inside the actual front itself, 2 on top, and there's also a plastic clip on the driver's side next to the windshield fluid. You remove this top cover above the actual front tray before you will be able to remove the actual tray itself. Pry that open with your hands, and now you can easily just lift this up after you remove the emergency latch. So this box you push forward and up, and then unplug it before you lift up the tray. Toss everything in the front so you don't lose any of the bolts or the actual front emergency cover itself as well. So once you have that removed, in this case, this vehicle has a front light, so we'll leave that front light cable above the actual front tray. Move the tray to the side, so make sure you have sufficient room when you're installing this front hidden camera. So don't worry about fiddling anything in the vehicle. You only need to fish the actual camera through. So you want to mount the camera in the center right above the air vent between the front bumper and the lower lip. Use adhesive at first, but if you want to use screws, you can after the adhesive. Once you set that camera there, you have to go inside the front, reach in, pull the wires through, and then now connect the wire to the extension. So you will be fishing this extension through the actual front driver passenger side where there is an opening. So I'll show you that in a brief moment here. So once you run the wires through, try to align it with other harness within the vehicle fronts. So in this case, we have this wire control cover that we'll be zip tying to. So once you run it towards the passenger side, there is an opening that you can go through, and we will go ahead and put the fish rod through first and then tape the tail end of the fish rod with the camera wire extension. So here's a close-up of where we ran the wires through. So there's a rubber gasket right there on the passenger side. So this is a latest Model Y build in 2024. Most of the AMD Model Y will have this opening. If not, there will be other smaller openings. You just have to remove the plastic covering and cut a slit through. So tape the end of the fish wire onto the extension of the camera wire. And you want to use electrical tape or fabric tape if possible. This helps with fishing it through without losing it. So once you have it taped up, go ahead inside the passenger side of the vehicle, inside the cabin. Go ahead and pull that fish wire through, and the actual camera wire should run through. Run that camera wire along the dash, including the AMD harness wire with the power wire along the dash. And you want to plug this in with the color coordinated. And this is blue, yellow, red. So there are color coded, so you can't mess this up. And you want to plug it in to make sure the display works before you install the actual display on the steering wheel. Make sure that all the powers are up because you don't want any loose wires and then having to go back and unplug or try to replug everything after your dash is already in. So you do want to test this first before you reinstall the actual display onto the actual steering wheel itself. So right now we're just fiddling around with the display. It is a touch screen, so we just want to make sure all the functionality is working. And right now we're adjusting some of the settings, changing to PSI as well as Fahrenheit and also 12-hour time. So the display looks to be working. We're gonna tighten this wires up underneath the display by using electrical tape again, and this will make everything organized. And once you set that on the bottom, it does not get in the way of the actual clip itself. Place the actual cover on top of the steering wheel, and Again, you do want to put a little force here. Don't worry about breaking any clips. Just make sure you align them where those clips should be, and you can hammer this down from top to the back, and the back you can squeeze it from top to the bottom. Again, don't worry about anything breaking. The clips are very strong on the top of this cover. So go ahead and attach these 2 clips on the vegan leather cover. And then once those are attached, you want to clean these wires up, zip tie them, use some painter's tape, and then put the dash back on. So in the reverse order, you want to put it in and then shut it down. And again, once you have all the clips aligned, you can just hammer it down slightly and it all should go in. Just make sure all the wires are not in the way of any of those clips. Then put the side covers back on, the left and the right side. And then the smaller elongate shape cover goes on. And then you can put the rubber seal back into its own original place. So this is a very clean and easy install. Again, you can do this yourself if you happen to be in the area of any local shop. We can provide some recommendation. Just email the support for that detail. And going to the setting, you can see there we have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We have settings in different languages, format 12 hours, 24 hours. You have AHD, you have front camera, you have temperature unit in Celsius or Fahrenheit. You also have rainbow row and connection mode. Again, you can toggle between CarPlay and Android Auto. You do have updates that you can connect to Wi-Fi. So over-the-air update is built in. The image quality on this display is definitely a step up. Very high quality. You can see this from this video with the front camera on. And to activate the front camera, you hold in on the right steering wheel scroll wheel for 3 seconds. And you can toggle up and down between the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So right now we're adjusting the front camera. Make sure it aligns. So what you want to see is just the front of the bumper, at least in an angle, so you don't curve while you're parking in tight parking spot. Now we're just cleaning up the wires in the front for the actual front hidden camera and zip tying everything down, putting the front tray back in, again in reverse order. Make sure you put the plastic clip, and all the 10mm bolts go in the same place, the 10mm bolts that you placed in the front when you were removing this. And after everything is installed, go ahead and plug back in the emergency latch cover and you're all set. And then the top cover on top of the front tray goes on last. So with that, we will conclude this video. So again, everything is very easy to install for this 8.8-inch display. You can do it yourself in your own garage. Make sure you watch this video multiple times. If you are interested in doing it yourself, if you know a local shop or you want to be recommended a local shop, reach out to the contact in the description of this video. And again, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe. Catch you all next time.